Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to the Friday night edition of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We are so glad to have you here with us as Phyllis Csaszar is going to join us here momentarily to talk about what it's like to communicate with the dead and even aliens. But first, we need to say hello to each and every one of you because that's how we kick things off around here, including Eternity Eternal in the gold medal position, Kitty Cattywag with a silver, Necessary Dialogue with a bronze medal tonight. Scrolling on down, we got Race Fan. We got T-Bone, my man. Mel WD-40 is here lubing us up for tonight's show because you can't communicate with the deceased or aliens unless you're nice and lubed. So, Mel, thank you for lubing us up. We greatly appreciate it. Robert Lamoth, how are you doing as we continue on with our roll call? Tim Mothman and his goatee are here. Tim Mothman and his goatee will both be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio if you don't mind. To the left of the studio. If you want a picture with Tim's goatee, it's an extra $6. Not $5, not $7. $6. Frankie B, how you doing? Nice to see you. Trucker Andrew, how you doing, my friend? Good to have you here. Thunderhead, good to have you here as well as we continue on with our roll call tonight. Gear Jammers, Lisa Smith, and Witness Protection. Welcome all to tonight's show. And number 55 in your program, starting at Defense tonight. From Stockholm, Sweden. I'm building up the tension. Lars Jonsson, there he is. Norris Trophy candidate going into this season. JSCO, how are you? As we scroll on down to say hello to Whistling Mike. Road Flare, how's it going tonight? And who else do we have here? Let's scroll on down and say hello to Phil Funk and Meemaw Flowers. Nice to see you both here. And Mama Catherine, there she is. Mwah, spending a Friday night with us, Mama Catherine. That's always special. Always, always special. Thank you, my love. And I hope you had a great day, and I hope you have a great weekend, okay? Moving on down. Love my Mama Catherine. Yes, I do. Scrolling on down. Where are we here? Luscious Jules, how are you? And Dunzel, how's it going? Let's continue to scroll, shall we? And say hello to Flubber Lane. And who else do we have here? Who else is here? Well, let's just keep on scrolling here. This is kind of... there's Chris Irvin. How are you? Maybe I should scroll faster. Flyer Tuck, how you doing? Algaray over on Twitch. So excited about Phyllis being on the show tonight. Deadlifted 500 pounds, 137 times in 32 and a half minutes. 32 and a half minutes. Good job there, Algaray, tonight. Good job. I hope you drank your water. Hope you drank your fluids. I really do. Skip to Malou, good morning to you. Fap Nuts and Walter Kochabinski. Nice to have you both here. Tyler 420, good to see you. East Coast Turnaround on X. Nice to have you here. Contrary One is here. Contrary One will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. Moving on down. Yes, I got a haircut. I got sheared yesterday. Literally sheared. Should have seen how much hair came off with the clippers. Oh my gosh. Right? Let's see here. Scrolling on down. Carol Amerio, nice to see you. Brenda Andre Fleury, how you doing? They call him the flower. They do. Terrence Carter is here. Terrence Carter. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Phyllis Csaszar is going to join us. We're going to talk about what it's like to talk to the dead and even aliens. Oh man, this is going to be a good show. I'm so glad you're here for it tonight. We're just wrapping up roll call on our YouTube side before we fire this thing up. Thomas Rock, how you doing, my friend? And who is next on our list? Let's take a quick look here. It's Jay Truth Seeker. There he is. Lisa Piper, nice to see you. I'm Hardcore on X. Nice to have you here. And T-Bone, thank you for kicking off the Super Chat tonight. The Super Chat is a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. It's that time, everybody. Throw those horns up. Let's rock.
Are you ready to hear your mystic voice of the night?
It's time to wake up.
He's here. Be quiet. He's ready for you to listen. Let's point our ears to what's that really happening next. We're together, friends. It's time for Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott.
From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of S.A.T.U.R.N headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Caribou Con. We want to see you all right here at Caribou Con, September 18th through 20th in the heart of British Columbia. Get your tickets now at cariboucon.com. We're going to have a very fun show tonight. What's it like to speak to the dead? What's it like to speak with aliens? Intuitive, clairvoyant. Phyllis Csaszar is here to join us momentarily. Then in hour number 3, Swamp Dweller. We'll kick things off with another spooky story. We're going to follow that up with Extra Small. Lee Strauss will be here for the Q&A. Let's get right to it. I'm so looking forward to this show. I really am. Why? Because I can. And it's a lot of fun when you get a new guest with a new topic coming on in. Phyllis Csaszar is a psychic, paranormal investigator, UFO researcher, and spiritual teacher whose work bridges the worlds of the supernatural and extraterrestrial phenomena. She has spent years investigating haunted locations, conducting ghost hunts, and researching skunk ape encounters while also studying UFO sightings and alleged alien contact. Through her intuitive abilities, Phyllis channels extraterrestrial beings and explores messages she believes offer insight into humanity's spiritual evolution and our place in the cosmos. It is so interesting to have this topic. Let's just bring her right in. Phyllis Csaszar, welcome to Spaced Out Radio for the first time. How are you?
Hi, thank you for having me on. I'm all excited to go.
I'm excited to have you here too. How old were you when you learned that you were a little bit different, that you had these incredible abilities?
Well, I had interesting thoughts since I was 7, but to be quite honest, I didn't really pursue anything until my adult years, probably once I hit my 40s. But then I was mostly active once I turned 60 because I didn't care if people thought I was crazy. So it's been my lifelong thing, but more intense in the past, I'll say 30 years.
Why did you decide to pursue this when so many people try to ignore it?
Mainly because they talked to me so much and so many things were going on that I couldn't ignore it and put it on the back burner. And I felt that there were a lot more people out there who believed and understood a lot of this. And the more I was doing, that people were coming out of the woodwork, so to speak, and they would come up to me at work and anywhere else I was, telling me that they had interest or would tell me their stories. And I just felt it was time that it was spoken out in the open.
When you say they kept on talking to you, who are they?
Mainly, we call them space beings, or I do. I don't call them aliens as much. But I've had a couple different races that talk to me and talk to me a little bit about humanity, where they have messages for people. Like when I'm doing a reading or a lecture, they come through and I speak their language and then I interpret it. And some people talk about star seeds. At first, I thought that's what I was, because a star seed basically is an ambassador who has connections with space beings. And we're kind of like, let's say, I understand it, so I tell you. And then you get to understand it, so you tell the next person. So we get the word out amongst the people, so that when the governments come out and try and tell us something different, we all know that what's real and what they're trying to hide from us.
Which beings did you channel and what do they sound like in their own language?
Well, if you want, I can do a couple of them.
Oh, yeah. If you want to channel an alien being, go right ahead.
Okay, here's the first one. Tetsamokosha terebukoshitine meta. Korakachi torasikashotarasi mokoshotaso. Kesana mokoshatiri moko daradaga shuti. Teresumoane kishitaroso. Kashutas koshuni sudapusa. That is a Pleiadian type race that they usually greet people and they show excitement when people are interested. Sometimes they'll be directed to a specific person. A lot of times when I speak that at a conference, people will come up to me and they'll say they knew exactly what I was saying in their mind. They could, even though they heard me speaking the language, they knew what the intent was, and that they seem to speak the most. I also speak a benevolent reptoid language, and that sounds more like this. I always get goosebumps when I do them. And they also want to explain to people, I guess if you go down the rabbit hole, a lot of people talk about the reptoids as being taking over the world and the government and Hollywood, that they have a nefarious agenda. And then there are also the reptoid races that are benevolent and that have been trying to fight and protect the human race. So they like to get out there and talk to people and bring them on board too.
So the first language was a form of Pleiadian, correct?
Correct.
And the second one?
Was a reptoid or a reptilian.
Or reptilian. Oh my, and where are they from?
Well, the one that I talked to, he just says he's from the outreach of the Sirius solar system. And when he first introduced himself, he claimed that he was the lesser of the evils, and he has a really warped sense of humor.
I always thought reptilians were more of a more aggressive, hardcore style, not really liking humans.
No, they're like, that's the problem. That's the there's two races. There's the, just like in humans, there's benevolent and there's the malevolent, and there are some that actually, I was told that they stayed behind on Earth to help humans. They went underground, but the stuff that we hear mostly on radio, TV, podcasts is usually that reptoids are evil.
And have you ever seen these reptilians physically?
Well, a lot of people around me have seen them. I have two that kind of follow me around. They're over 10 foot tall. And I kept saying, well, why is everybody else seeing it but not me? And so I was at a session where it was kind of like a hypnosis session. And the one thing about me being psychic, a lot of things I get images of things that I'm more familiar with. And I'm a big old Trekkie, and I actually dress up as a Klingon and cosplay at conventions. So when I was first regressed or hypnotized, whatever, I kind of saw what looked a little bit like a Klingon. And then I said, well, you don't look all that bad. And then the face turned more into what I would say like a vicious looking alligator with its mouth open and saliva dripping. And I remember I went, ugh, and I snapped out of it. And then he just started laughing and he said, well, you wanted to see what I really look like. But one time when I was at this one place that I used to own, a woman came in with her grandson and he started screaming and wouldn't come in the room. And later on we found out that he saw me as a monster because he saw the reptilian standing next to me. And we've had a couple other different places or psychics that I've seen. They've actually seen them around me too. Now this is the one thing that surprised me. I have a friend who he's had a lot of experiences, and he does regressions and takes you to what he calls his soul room. And so what he did is he talked me to my soul room. And it was really strange because what I saw made me think of a panoramic picture. And it was shadowy, and it was hard to see what was in this room. And then all of a sudden I realized that the reason it was so dark is because the shadows of the gigantic reptilians were in the room. And as soon as I accepted that, the room started to swirl in purple. So the man who was doing the guiding to me said, do you realize what that means? And it's like, no, I don't. And so he said, well, I'll tell you when the session is done. And other things happened after that. But once he brought me back and he says, purple represents royalty, and only royals are greeted by other royals. And he's only had one other person in all the years he was doing this that ever was considered a royal. So they're saying that I was royalty in the reptilian family. And he went around telling people at this convention, and people were coming up to me and bowing and calling me their queen. It's like, no, don't start this. You know, it was really strange. But for a whole week after that, my ears were pointy, my chin was pointy, and my eyes were a lot greener than they would normally be. And people have actually seen my eyes blink sideways a few times and mentioned it to me. So it just kind of shook me up a little bit. But then after a while, I just seemed to accept it because I realized that at first I was scared because, like I said, I was always heard that reptilians were bad. But since I've been on this journey, I found out a lot different.
Phyllis Csaszar is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio, connecting and communicating with ET beings right now. What's the message that they have for us? Because, you know, I wonder from two different species, whether it's reptilian or Pleiadian, that their messages could be different.
In a way, I know a lot of people are hoping that the different space beings would come here and save us all and get rid of the corruption and cure all our illnesses and stuff. And I've never really gotten that message from them. I do get hope, and that we're still very young. We still have a lot of changes. They feel the human race is still pretty primitive. There's still too much violence and hate and greed, and they're just trying to portray that if we could change it for the better and get rid of a lot of the negativity that are, I guess they keep talking about everybody raising to the fifth dimension and it being a lot better. But they're not going to swoop in and save us. They might come in, and once they feel it's safe enough to share things without, right now, anytime anything that's been shared with the human race has been used not for very good reasons, or it's been kept away from the general public. So they're still not ready to do much with us until we can do something to that it would help all of mankind and not just the elites or the ones who think they're in charge.
When you channeled both of those voices, were you actually channeling them, or was that just you've memorized their language? Much like, let's say, if I were to talk French to you or Chinese.
No, because I call on them to tell me, that somebody wants to hear and to speak through me, because it doesn't always sound exactly the same every time. I can tell the difference by, like I said, the reptoid is a little bit more, hopefully I don't offend anybody, but it reminds me more of the German, the way that they pronounce words, where the Pleiadians to me is more sing-songy. But no, because when I'm speaking it, I'm hearing in my mind basically what they're trying to interpret. And there's some times where they want me to speak and I'll keep my mouth closed because I don't want people to think I'm weird. And then there's other times it's like, okay, do this for me. I don't like to, I would say, put them on demand and just do things like people say, can you do this and can you do that? It's, for instance, just a little different. We were doing a Bigfoot investigation, and on the way to this area, the Pleiadians said that they're going to put on an air show. And that night, sure enough, if you looked toward the Orion constellation, a large glowing orange object appeared and did some aerobatics and then took off. But other people say, well, can you tell them to come and do it? And it's like, no, they don't perform on command. Your heart has to be in the right place, or they have to come to you and tell you that they'll do something. But because I was doing this lecture tonight, I already informed them that I'd probably be calling upon them to speak through me.
That is very excellent indeed. Phyllis Csaszar is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We got about 5 minutes to go before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Phyllis, as you learn this, when did the communication with the Pleiadians start for you?
Trying to think. I just know that somewhere in my 60s it happened. I was doing some meditations and talking to other people about space beings, and it was just one day, all of a sudden, it sounds crazy, but I opened my mouth and this language came out of me. It's like, where did that come from? And so then, it gradually, once I allowed it to, I'll say, take over and explain why they were doing it with me. A lot of times, when we'll talk about it more, like why they asked me to do some things, I've helped several people who have had experiences. I work with people who are experiencers versus abductees more so, but I have worked with some abductees too and explain the difference. And it makes a big difference in how people react and accept or handle what has happened to them. And I guess it's just kind of like being an ambassador.
Why do you think they chose you? I mean, I don't say that to ask insultingly, but I'm always curious. Why do you think that you were chosen?
I actually think that because ever since I was 7, I always used to say that I wasn't from this planet, that I was an alien. I had this object that I wore around my neck that I used to tell people that it was from another planet, and it was a disc with all sorts of strange writings on it. And I was always fascinated with sci-fi. I mean, I'm the original Trekker from 1966, and my dad was heavily into Edgar Cayce, and we used to discuss things. Unfortunately, he passed away when I was 18. And so all my life, I've been totally drawn to space, aliens, and so on. So, and then as I allowed my psychic abilities to to grow and to use to help people, that I guess they just realized that that was what I am. Like, I've been groomed since I was 7. But once a person told me that I was a royal descent of the reptoid race, and that some people have even said that they think I am part reptoid. I don't know, except like I said, people have seen my eyes blink sideways. I was told my mission was to come here to help people. And so,
So are you a hybrid?
Well, I think I am. I have no way to prove it. Uh, I did some research, and one time they said that what happens is that a space being will mate with a human female, and they won't be around long, but their child will be a hybrid. And the strange thing was, I'm a baby boomer. My dad was in World War II. And when he came back from the war, of course, that changes people anyway. But my mom said he just seemed to be a different person. And they had my sister first and then me 4 years later. And my dad always seemed to have a lot of psychic ability, or he just seemed different from what I can remember. Well, I keep having this dream where my father is walking alongside this very tall man. And I say, Dad, I thought you died. And he says, no, I didn't die. I finished my mission and I had to leave. And we sit on a park bench and we talk for a little bit. And he just keeps saying, remember, I'm not dead. I had to leave. And with that, this tall, unusual looking being comes over, leans down and says something in his ear. And then my dad looks at me and says, I have to go now. And I've had that dream repeatedly for years and years and years. So sometimes I wonder, is it really a dream? Or is it my father telling me something?
That's incredible. Absolutely incredible. I mean, noticing that change and the fact that you feel that you are a hybrid being. I mean, there's not a lot of people out there that would admit to that, Phyllis.
Well, I ran into a woman. I had a UFO discussion group, and this woman named Diane showed up one day, and I was drawn to her for some reason. And after the meeting, I wanted to talk to her, but she just disappeared. And she stayed in my mind for this very long time.
Hold that thought. We're going to get back.
Okay.
We got to go to break. Phyllis
All
Csaszar
right.
is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Channeling alien beings, channeling the dead, hybridization, and much more. And where did Diane go? We need to figure that out when we return. Peak Woo has hit. Phyllis, I'm going to tell you right now, I am loving you.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely loving you. I'll be honest with you, I had a shit day today, and I was so hoping that this show would go exactly like this. And here we go. You have made my night.
Oh, thank you.
You are welcome. No, thank you. Tom King and your beautiful hair. How you doing tonight, buddy? Let's see here. Let's see here. This is awesome. I'm so excited. I am so excited. I love this. Oh my goodness. I
Can't wait to tell you what the Bigfoot communicated with me too.
Oh my God. Let's do this. Oh, let's do this. You know what? I will tell you a little story. My son could communicate with them. He used to, I don't know if he could now because he's entering the teenage years, but like 3-4 years ago, he could communicate with them when we were out on the in the area.
Well, as long as he doesn't become jaded or embarrassed by it, he'll retain it. But what happens with a lot of people as the kids get older, they're either afraid of being mocked by their peers, or they think this is silly, and lose the abilities. And it's sad because as long as they have parents like you that encourage it, he should be able to retain it.
Well, we're gonna try it. 1 second here. A big happy birthday to my longest listener. Happy Oob Day to you. Ready, Joe? Here you go, Joe. Happy Oob Day to you. Happy Oob Day to you. Happy birthday and Oob to Joe's mane. Happy birthday to you. And many more. There you go. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. All right. There we go. Now we're all good. Now we're all good. People are loving you in the chat room.
Well, that's good.
Yep.
Sometimes you worry about if people think you're crazy for some of the things you say, but I'm finding when you're in this type of atmosphere with believers, you can be more relaxed and share the truth. And for most cases, people will say they understand or they believe, and they encourage. So it's always good to be with like-minded people.
Absolutely. Absolutely agree. Paramarv, spell oob backwards. Joe used to come into our chat room every night, and his first word in the chat room was boo. So I flipped it to oob, and it stuck. All right. We got about a minute and 15 seconds, Bill. Hi, Nikki in Seattle. If you haven't already, give us a thumbs up. Helps with our algorithms, peeps. We need them thumbs up, so let's get them up. Bigfoot Fades, how are you? Nice to see you. That's right. The reverse oob psychology right there. Now, Dave's broadcasting from a van down by the forest now. I'm not near the river anymore. I'm at the forest. All right. Thank you to T-Bone, our lone super chatter so far. We greatly appreciate it. Let's rock and roll this thing in about 10 seconds. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Imagine channeling aliens, Bigfoot, ghosts, and everything else on the odd and strange spectrum. That's what we're doing tonight with our guest, Phyllis Csaszar. We'll bring her on momentarily. But first, we want to remind all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives. They're on YouTube or any major podcast network like Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and so much more. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Let's bring her on in. Phyllis Csaszar is a channeler. She's a clairvoyant. She's a psychic. She's a communicator. And let's face it, she's an awesome lady as well. Thank you, Phyllis, for being here. You were telling us about Diane. You were at this UFO club group. We need to know what happened to Diane.
Okay, so a couple of years later, I was attending a metaphysical church in Florida, and I walk in, and there she is standing right there. And she turns around and she lets out a shout and says, "Oh my God, Phyllis, I'm so excited to see you." And I was like, huh? Because I didn't realize that she had noticed me. Well, the service goes on, and at the end of the service, the people would get up and they would give psychic readings to people, little messages. And when they were done, everybody was leaving the church, and I was still in there, and so was Diane, and she looked sad. So I said to her, "Diane, what's wrong?" She says, "Well, I didn't like what they said to me." And I said, "Well, what happened?" And I said, "Well, they told me that I shouldn't be so standoffish and I should be friendlier." I said, "Well, to be quite honest, I feel like a force field around you that I wish I could reach out and give you a hug, but I feel like I would be pushed away." And she goes, "Oh, that's because they're protecting me from people." And I said, "What?" She says, "Yes, they're protecting me." I said, "Oh, okay, I understand," meaning aliens. And as we're talking, all of a sudden, her chin goes pointy, her eyes get really big, she starts to look like a gray. And I said, "Diane, your face is morphing." She says, "Yes, they're allowing you to see what I really look like." And I said, "Oh, well, you're beautiful." And with that, boom, I felt the wall drop. She threw her arms around me and called me beloved. And I said, "What?" She says, "Well, that's what they call you on the ships." She says, "You've been on them many times, you know." And I said, "I thought so." And so that was like confirmation. I got to see my first hybrid morph into a space being. And then one of my friends had a store in the same town, and she showed up in the store the one day talking to them, and he's hearing torrential rain. And he's looking out the window, and it's a bright, beautiful, sunny Florida day. And he says, "Diane, I don't mean to sound weird, but do you hear all that rain?" She says, "Oh, yes, I'm in the rainforest right now." So she was in two places at once, his store and in the rainforest. And he could hear the rain pouring down around her. So then we never saw her again, which I'm hoping that that's not true, that someday she'll show up in my life again.
Do you think she was an alien?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, I watched her change from human form to alien form as we were talking.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That
And,
is very interesting.
and I wasn't on drugs or drinking.
No, no, and I
Yeah,
believe
I
you on
know.
that.
That's kind
I
of like a
totally
joke.
believe you on that.
Yeah.
I
It
do.
was just, but it was amazing that I was drawn to her and missed an opportunity to talk to her. But when she saw me, she came running up to me like I was her long lost sister. And she was so excited that she saw me again when I didn't even know she had noticed me the first time. So that always puts me in awe when things like that happen. But we've had other people where when we'd have a meeting, my one psychic friend kept saying they heard this man going, I want to go home, I want to go home, I want to go home. And he was about to say, well, then go home. Why are you at this meeting? And then he realized he wasn't talking about his earthly home. He wanted to go back to his home planet. So I didn't have any real encounters with him. But like I said, my friend shared that with me that they kept picking up on that he hated being here and he wanted to go back to where he was really originally from. So there are many among us. It's just that they're very good at disguising themselves unless they feel that they can show their true self to you. And to give you an idea, when Diane said that I'd been on the spaceships, I don't know if anybody's ever been to any of those crystal ball concerts where they play the big bowls, the little bowls, different tones. And there's this one big bowl, and I don't know what note it is, but as soon as they play it, I have flashbacks of being on a spaceship because that's what it sounds like in the ship. So I remember walking up to somebody the one time and telling them that, and they said to me, you wouldn't believe how many people have come up to them and told them the very exact thing, that when they play this one bowl, it brings them flashes of being on a spaceship.
No kidding. No
Yeah.
kidding. That's incredible. Phyllis Csaszar is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Now, you wanted to get into the fact that you could also channel Bigfoot beings. I'm very interested to learn about this.
Okay, well, what happened was, name dropping a little bit, Stacy Brown Jr. was a very big in the Skunk Ape in Florida, and he was having an investigation at a park in Sarasota. And my daughter had had encounters with Bigfoot in New Jersey, so I dragged her along, and we went to this event that actually had started Friday night, but we couldn't get up there till Saturday. And they all were saying, come on, we want to show you these footprints that we found the day before. So they take us up into this area, and they're having trouble finding them. And I walked on ahead, and I started getting almost like feeling like a panic attack. I felt really bizarre. So I turned around and walked back to the group, and I felt normal again. So, of course, I had to go see. I did this 3 times, and then all of a sudden, I feel a presence to my left, and I start talking what they call as a light language, and I start speaking out loud. And as I'm doing that, I have a vision of a male, a female, and a child Bigfoot or skunk ape. And the man is telling me that the child is frightened, so I'm telling him that we're from love and light, and that we mean no harm, and we're sorry that we scared the child. And he says that he was doing tree knocking, and also that they were going to leave us a gift. Well, of course, when I first told Stacy what I was doing, he thought I was crazy because he didn't know who I was. But he confirmed that that night before, when he got out of the tent to go use the restroom, there was tree knocking. And when he came out of the restroom, there was tree knocking. The footprints that they had found the day before was a small, medium, and large, just like male, female, and child. And then the next day they contacted me and said that they had, that the skunk ape had taken a rabbit and snapped its neck and laid it out on this wood stump as food as a gift for them. So everything that they had told me psychically, we could prove. The only thing that we couldn't prove is the next day when we were walking in another part of the forest, I saw what I call the five brothers psychically. And it was like walking in line, tall to short, like you see in pictures. But I felt calm. And I said to them, I can see you psychically, but I can't feel you. Why is that? And they told me, because we haven't interdimensionally shifted yet. Now, I can't prove that because the psychic messages are not proof. They're personal experiences. But that's what they told me. So that was the first encounter. And just recently, I was up in the Brooksville area with a group of Bigfoot hunters, and they were outside the Jeep doing some exploration, and I was sitting in the Jeep, and all of a sudden, what I would say is a Bigfoot elder started to speak to me. And I was taken to, like, sitting around a campfire. I felt like I was with a bunch of Native Americans, except they were all Bigfoot. And he was telling the story, and the way he was talking, it's like, long time ago, many moons ago, we were here until the settlers came, and so we had to leave. But now that they're all gone, we're back, and food and water is abundance, and we're happy and at peace here. And so it had started out in a strange sounding language, and then slowly shifted into English. And by the time they were done, I was crying, because a lot of times when I have psychic experiences, I either cry or get goosebumps or both. And then when the rest of the gang came back to the Jeep, I told them what happened. And I just said it felt surreal, like they took me to a place of sitting around a campfire and sharing their ancient history with me.
What do they sound like? The Bigfoot. Can you speak their language too?
No. I tried to, like right now, there's no way I could, but it was a mixture of, it almost sounded like a light language, which to me, I think I get confused with Pleiadian. A combination of that, Native American, and then some English type words. I was told by someone who had studied Bigfoot when he was in the Special Forces that Bigfoot can speak and understand several different languages, that they do English, French, French Creole, Spanish, and Native American. So I don't know if what they were doing when they were talking to me is they started out with their base language and kept shifting till it became more clear to me what they were saying. But
So you believe Sasquatch is interdimensional, correct?
only because that's what they told me. And it could explain a lot of this, the fuzzy pictures or people being zapped, you know, that they've had their energy, they have energy issues when they're when they're supposedly around Bigfoot. A lot of people, they actually get knocked out or they just feel disoriented. And so a lot of what happens when people do have encounters would make it seem that it has a dimensional truth to it, especially like where people have said that one minute they're there and the next minute they just seem to disappear. Even the footprints stop. So how else could you explain it? But again, I can't say it's true. I can only say what they told me. There's no way for me to scientifically prove that at all.
What do you think the purpose of Bigfoot in our forests is?
I just think that they're just there existing, and it just, unfortunately, with more and more people going out there and the building up of every state is just tearing down forest after forest. It's just that they're just more well known, but they've always been there. It's just they're just another race on this planet.
What about other cryptids like dogman or gnomes or gargoyles or goblins?
Okay. You asked for the rabbit hole, you're going to get it.
I want that rabbit hole. Come on, make this peak woo. Multiply
Okay.
that peak woo for us.
Alrighty. Well, I have a select group of friends that we go out into the woods. We have encountered little people, dogman, which they're called dueos. They're not vicious. Sabe, which is a native name for Bigfoot. We have encountered dragons and many other what you would think is mythological beings. The thing is that they tell us certain things, and then you go on YouTube or Facebook or something, and somebody says, oh, I've been talking to dragons, and they've been saying XYZ. And that's exactly what we've been told when we encounter them. So it's kind of like you say, well, I guess I didn't make it up because other people are hearing the same messages. I am friends with somebody who's on a TV show about looking for treasure. I'll just leave it that way because I don't want to give out names or the show. And they have encountered a serpent-like being on the property. And when we were in Florida, we encountered the same type. And they told us that they've been trying to contact him and they want to communicate with him. So we called him and he knew exactly what we were talking about. He says, yes, I've been trying to communicate with them recently. So again, to me, if we're hearing something that people would say, oh, you're just imagining it, but you call somebody from across the country and you tell them a message and they know exactly what you're talking about, you start to realize that there's a lot more to all the cryptids and all the beings that people used to say were fake or made up or fairy tales. We've seen changes. When I mentioned before, when I was taken to my soul room, when I left there, I went further into space, and insectoid was waiting for me, and there's this massive beam of golden light. And they said, this is our gift we're giving to you to share with the people we tell you to. And what I do now is when they pick the person, I touch my forehead, my third eye to their third eye, and you feel energy leave me and they go into that person and fill them with golden light. And everyone I've done this with has had more alien contact, have many different things happen, and their whole life seems to change. And
I got to stop you right there. I got to stop
Okay.
you right there because this is fascinating me right now. Just fascinating me. Okay, so if you connect third eye to third eye in a meditation, what happens? What is the power that happens there? I'm all ears here on this one.
This burst of white golden light leaves my body and goes into the person I'm giving it to. And while I'm doing it, there's like, with my eyes closed, I see white light. And you actually feel like this, the people say they feel like a pulse going into them. And then when it's done, it goes dark. And then these people, like the last person I did it to, he was in the forest standing there, and you could actually see like golden beams coming off his fingertips as he was standing there absorbing it all. A friend of mine we've been doing a lot of communicating and working with a lot of lost souls and helping people cross over. Other people, they've been doing more things. This one person, they actually have a more deeper connection with Bigfoot when they go out. Another person, once they had their understanding, they became brilliant in electronics. Another person he stopped shaking because he had like hands where his would shake, and he could play the guitar and sing again. So I'm not quite sure what it's all about. Now, the last two people I did when I was doing it to them, they had a vision of a planet and also a vision of Bigfoot while in their minds as I was doing it. So I don't quite know what's going on, but they tell me, okay, you see that person over there, it's their turn. Go do it to them. I can't just willy-nilly walk up to somebody and do it unless I'm told to. And when I was first given this golden light, I had a psychic friend who could see people's auras, and they couldn't even look at me because I said this golden light was so bright around me, it was blinding. And somebody took, they have an app on the computer where you can take a picture of somebody's aura, and it is all gold and purple all around me.
Interesting. And the power that comes off of that, does it open up a telepathic connection?
Yeah, yes. What happens is the people who get it usually end up becoming more psychic. They can communicate with more beings. We have found that since this has been happening, we've been communicating more with the mythological beings and space beings, just about everything that where we. It's almost like it opens your mind up so you can actually hear them and understand them and communicate with them. It's erasing years of being told that they're not real and anything you're hearing, is just your mind being crazy or your active imagination. So what it does is it opens up your mind to actually receive messages from various beings and realize that you're really communicating with them, and it's not just made up.
Phyllis Csaszar is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Okay, so let's get back to the dragons for a second here. Like, what kind of dragons are we talking about? Are we talking Puff the Magic Dragon? Are we talking ancient dragons that are having wings and blowing fire out of their mouths or nostrils? Or what kind of dragons are you seeing here?
Well, the ones that we're seeing, they're gigantic. And what they do is we have an agreement where we've been fighting darkness. A lot of people have been told that we're getting ready for a spiritual war. And we will stand and encounter evil or darkness coming toward us, thinking that we're a target. And just as they get close, these massive dragon wings will envelop us and protect us, and then they will destroy the evil being, the evil entity. And so they're basically here to rid the world of the spiritual darkness that is out there. And we basically are working together as partners, like we're the bait, and they protect us, and they get the dark entities. And we've seen that happen several times. I don't quite understand a lot of it. A couple of my other friends have been working with them nonstop. I usually don't do too much because everything is where a lot of the stuff encounters are about an hour and a half away from where I live. So I have to make special plans to travel and spend a weekend up in the area. When working full time, plus leading ghost tours and doing other things, that it's hard to get away as much as I'd like. But it seems to be I would say they're more like the fire-breathing monster big dragons, but they're not evil, destroying good. They're doing the spiritual war, fighting the darkness.
On that note, we are going to get ready for our break here at the top of the hour. I don't know about you guys, but I am having an absolute blast with our guest tonight, Phyllis Csaszar. Why? Because you know what? We don't hit enough peak woo on this show at times, and we have smashed it tonight. Smashed it. And her knowledge is incredible. We got Phyllis for another hour on Spaced Out Radio. I am pumped up about it. I hope you are too. Let's continue the fun on tonight's show. This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott. All right, we are clear. We got about 5.5 minutes. We're going to play a little video here, okay?
Our merch is Bigfoot approved. We have t-shirts, we have mugs, we have hoodies, we have socks, we have hats, we have stickers, and so much more. Whatever you're looking for, we have you covered. Why just be a fan of the paranormal when you can buy Spaced Out Radio merch and look the part? Our merch ain't ugly, folks. Check out the Spaced Out Radio store. Find the link in the description below.
Lurking within the forested region of the 108-mile ranch, where the worlds of the normal and paranormal collide. CARIBOUCON is waiting for you, bringing together a panel of renowned experts in the paranormal, cryptid research, and UFO phenomena fields. Get ready for a spine-tingling weekend in the heart of British Columbia. Enjoy fascinating discussions, presentations, tours of local haunted areas, and skywatching. Learn from investigators, authors, and enthusiasts who explore everything from ghost hunting techniques to sightings of Sasquatch and beyond. Whether you're a seasoned paranormal researcher or just love a good spooky story, this is your chance to connect with fellow enthusiasts in one of BC's most mysterious areas. Tickets are on sale now. Grab yours before they're gone. Visit cariboucon.com for details, tickets, and updates.
Are you ready to dive into the weird and wonderful world of cryptids, cartoons, and chaos? Meet Dirty Filth, Spaced Out Radio's resident cartoonist and master of the mysterious. Every Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific, join him live on the Spaced Out Radio YouTube channel for Cryptid Cartoons with Dirty Filth, a hilarious hour where he sketches bizarre beasts, shares mind-bending stories, and battles his mischievous cats. Whether you're a UFO enthusiast, paranormal fan, or just love quirky art, Dirty Filth filters the universe through his unique lens, creating cartoons that capture the strange, dark, and supernatural. Follow Dirty Filth on X at Filth1 or Facebook at Dear Filth for more filthy fun. Find his link in the description below.
Spaced Out Radio wants to hear from you. We love our community, and your voice truly matters. Drop a comment after every show and let us know what you thought. Agree with our guests? Tell us why. Disagree? We want to hear that too. We read every single comment. Jump into the live chat during the broadcast and be part of the conversation in real time. Got a killer topic idea? Your suggestions help shape the show. And if you want to take it even further, join our Patreon for bonus content and direct feedback opportunities with Dave and the team. This is your show as much as it is ours. Whether you're a longtime listener or brand new, we want your thoughts, your questions, and your ideas. And let's keep building this incredible community together. Spaced Out Radio, where the conversation never ends. What are you waiting for? We're listening.
with 5 explorable Gold Rush era buildings said to be home to spirits of a time forgotten. The 108-mile heritage site in the heart of BC's Caribou region offers a unique opportunity for thrill seekers and history buffs. For an evening of historical fun, step into our guided ghost tours, where spine-chilling stories of Gold Rush legends and unexplained encounters come alive. For those craving even more, inquire with us about conducting a hands-on paranormal investigation of your own. And if you're truly brave, book our haunted sleepovers. Spend the night at our B&B inside the McNeil House to truly experience this historical landmark and its ghostly secrets firsthand. For booking or inquiries, go to haunted108.com.
All right. As we prepare for hour number 2, we say hello to Stargazer. And who else has jumped in here? Take a quick look here. All right. I think we're caught up on people. I think we are. Right. We got 20 seconds. And 10 seconds, Phyllis.
Okay. Time is flying by.
Here we go. This is hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for joining us as we continue on with Phyllis Csaszar, channeling aliens, Bigfoot, and ghosts. We're going to find out more about this in this hour. But first, we want to say hello to all of you listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the S.A.T.U.R.N Space Travelers Club. Muggery. Muggery is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's bring in our guest, Phyllis Csaszar. For almost her entire life, she has been channeling otherworldly beings, from aliens to cryptids to ghosts themselves. And we are going to learn more about this tonight. Phyllis, welcome back.
Hi, thank you.
What's the difference between channeling an alien being and a ghost?
I don't think there's that much difference. Basically, you just let them speak through you. Now, there's 2 different things. Like when I work with ghosts or deceased people, they talk to me and then I'll give messages to people. But I also have allowed a couple where they've taken over me and I'm speaking, but it's them speaking through me. And that's I don't want to say it's a possession, but it's more like I'm letting them tell their story. And when I'm channeling the space beings, they're talking in my head, but I'm speaking their language out loud and then reinterpreting it back into English.
How do you translate
it? Basically, after I'm done speaking, I don't know how I'm doing it because I guess the mind works faster than the mouth, but I get the gist. Like it's not word for word for word. It's more of giving a synopsis of what they've said. General idea. It won't be like they say XYZ and then I repeat XYZ. It's more of, oh, they just said, welcome, they're happy to talk to you, or whatever they might have said. So it's more of speaking it, hearing it, and interpreting it in, but not word for word. But like with ghosts, Well, most spirits, when they communicate with me, they show me things, and then I have to try and interpret what they're talking about. So that's a little bit harder. Like, I've had them where they've been having me hear a particular song, and then I have to figure out, are they talking about the song? Are they talking about the singer? Is there a certain message about the song? And then how will the person I'm giving the message to, maybe it was their favorite song or something. So it's a little bit harder when I'm talking to the deceased, because they're giving me images and things that the people they're trying to communicate with would understand, but I don't have a clue.
So how do you know you're getting the message right?
I don't, well, even though I'm, short of sounding conceited, I'm very good. You always doubt yourself, especially if a person's not receiving what you're saying. I had this one lady, I told her that her aunt was there and had come through and gave her a couple messages, and she kept saying, I don't have one. And I said, well, was there a woman that was like your mom's best friend who passed? And this and that. Nope. And like I said, well, I'm sorry, I'm not going to change my story. She's saying she's your aunt. Well, then she also said, oh my gosh, my mom had a twin that died at birth. So that confirmed it. But then what happened was I had her draw some cards. And I use tarot cards, but I don't have a clue how to read tarot cards. I read pictures and get images and words from spirit through what I see. And the card that you picked usually represented a deceased son. But I was so afraid to tell her that a deceased son was coming through after going through this whole thing with the aunt debacle. I just turned it around and said that she had a spirit, a young spirit in the realm that's sending a lot of protection and love. And then when we were done, I said, was there anybody you hope to hear from? And she said, yes, my son that died. And it's like I could kick myself, but I doubted myself because I had such a hard time in the beginning giving her a message. I had another person, she was in her early 80s, and I was told that she was going to do some kind of volunteer work. And I just kind of glossed over it, but I'm hearing horses. And it's like, why would I tell some 80-year-old woman that she's going to be volunteering with horses? So I didn't say anything. And then when we were done, she says, oh, you know that thing about volunteering? I called one of those horse ranches that work with autistic kids and asked if there's anything I could do to volunteer there. So again, you don't always know, and I'm constantly learning. Even if it doesn't make sense to me, I have to say it because it might make sense to the person I have the message for. But so it's not perfect science. But then there's other ones, to give you an idea. I won't give generic messages. I won't say, oh, your mom's here, she loves you, she's proud of you, because that's what fakes say. Or they try and read what you're hoping the parent might say. So this one girl, I was doing a reading, and her mom came through, and she says, oh, what does my mom have to say? Well, mom's saying, oh, tell her I love her and I'm proud of her, and I'm arguing in my head. I'm going, no, I won't. You give me something that only she would know. So she says, all right, ask her about the bunnies. So I said, your mom's here, and she said the word bunnies. What does that mean to you? And the girl kind of looks at me strange. She says, well, I had a rabbit, and mom's screaming in my ear, bunnies, not rabbit, bunnies. I said, no, the word is bunnies. She says, oh my gosh, last night I bought a new pair of pajamas covered in bunnies with a bunny hood, and I wore it to bed last night. So for me, even though she said rabbit, I would not change the word to, oh yes, it must be rabbit. No, it was bunnies, specifically bunnies. And it came out that mom saw her in her bunny pajamas. Same thing, I was doing a reading for a gentleman, and his mom came through. Same thing, she wanted me to tell him she was in love, loved him and proud of him. And I refused, and I said, tell me something else. And she says, all right, ask him about a frog. So I said, your mom's here. Oh, yeah, what's she have to say? I said, she wants me to ask about a frog. Well, he starts laughing because that day he and his wife were out in their boat in the Gulf, and there was a big old frog on the boat, and they were trying to catch this frog. And as they grab it, the frog would jump the other way and back and forth, tripping over each other, laughing hysterically, trying to catch this frog so he wouldn't jump over and, in the middle of the sea and drown. So again, when that happens, I feel that I'm getting a real message because, I could give generic messages, but I don't think that's fair to tell people what they want to hear. But if I can give messages of things that I'd have no knowledge about, I can't guess at. I couldn't guess about a bunny or a frog. I had another one who I said, your grandmother used to sneak you butterscotch candies, didn't she? And he was shocked. He said, yeah. My mom and I lived with my grandma, and I said, yeah, she had a dish of butterscotch candies. And your mom used to freak out when you'd get one. And he'd say, yeah. And I said, but both his mom and his grandmother had passed. I said, your mom knew that grandma was sneaking them to you. And I said, but your mom had this terrible fear of you choking. Why was that? And he says, oh, I was born with a cord around my neck and I almost choked during birth. So my mom always had this terrible fear of me choking. So, so like I said, it's stuff that starts out simple. And then as you talk to the person, you find out why you're getting such a strange message about butterscotch candies, a frog, or a bunny rabbit.
Phyllis Csaszar is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. When you're channeling a ghost, what do you try to find out outside of maybe their name or whoever? Are you trying to find out how they connect to the situation? Because spiritually, a lot of these ghosts can be tricksters.
Yes. Well, first of all, before I do any kind of investigations, we do a little ritual of protection, and that we say that we will not accept any negative entities to step in and try and trick us, or only the person should come through. And I learned that the hard way because I was doing a gallery one day, and I was hitting on just about everybody in the room, and I said, is there anybody here who wanted to hear from somebody? And this woman says, yeah, I wanted to hear from George. Well, I go, okay, let's see if George will come through. Well, all of a sudden I have a vision of a guy that looked like S.A.T.U.R.N, but not as cute. And he had this sickly smile on his face. And he says, come here, I want to show you something. And he takes me down to the basement to show where he did terrible things to women and killed them. And I totally freaked out. I had to stop. I started crying. We saged, we prayed the whole bit. And what happened was the woman wanted to hear from her grandfather, George. But unfortunately, because we were open up to spirit, a serial killer named George stepped in because we called out to a George. So you have to be very specific when somebody wants to hear from somebody like George, my grandfather. So that taught me a very scary lesson, that you have to be very careful when you are channeling or calling on spirit to speak, to make sure that you keep away the negative ones and you only allow the correct ones to come through. I also talk to people about ghosts because for some reason everybody's terrified of ghosts. It's like, why? Because of TV and radio makes everything demonic. And I'd say 95% of any ghostly stuff that I've done has always been just deceased people. And if you were nice in life, you're not going to turn evil because you're dead. And if you're a not so nice person in life, you might change and become nice after death because you see the error of your ways, or you might still be a jerk. So I try and talk to people about stop watching all these TV shows that make everything so evil. Evil sells. I was on a TV show talking about my experiences in a haunted hospital that I worked at the midnight shift. And they took my stories and they made everything so demonic. I was almost embarrassed when it came on the air because they twisted the stories. They made everything, well, they had to make it spooky or nobody'd watch it. Because a lot of times ghost hunting and dealing with ghosts is kind of boring. You know, half the time you're ghost hunting and nothing happens at all. So if they put true ghost hunting on these TV shows, nobody'd watch them because everybody is thrilled by horror and being scared. And so then my job is to go around telling people it's not all that scary. We were doing a paranormal show up in Tallahassee, and there was, I don't know if you've ever seen the device, it's goggles and a headset, and it distorts everything so you can't hear anything from the outside.
The Estes method?
Yeah, what is it?
The Estes method?
I think that's what it is. And a couple of people were trying it out at this event, and they say, oh, psychics usually are better at it, so let Phyllis try it. So I put this thing on, and all of a sudden I start channeling a woman, and I start talking about how I was killed, and they were asking me questions, and I couldn't hear them. But from what I was told, I was answering them exactly whatever they'd ask, I was giving them answers. Well, I just remember being extremely cold all while I was doing this. And then somewhere just before I finished, I felt this presence of a man behind me that wasn't very nice. And I said, I have to go. And then the one person touched me on the leg, and it's like I took everything off, and I said, so what was it? And they told me everything that happened, and somebody had said that they had a thermometer, a temperature gauge pointed at me, and my body was 65 degrees all while I was channeling this person. And the story basically that came out of it is that there's a man, there's several people who have passed in this building, and they're kind of held hostage by this one man. And so after that was done, we went into this back room where all sorts of equipment was set up, readers and EMF detectors and the little cat balls that twinkle if they're touched, everything imaginable. And I said, can I ask questions? Well, I've mentioned a few times, I talk sometimes in what I call the light language, is basically just a language that supposedly, that no matter what language somebody speaks, they understand what you're saying in the spirit realm. And when we were done, they had the recorder and the light was flashing on it like it was picking up something. And then when they played it back, there was a voice of a man who was like, kind of like, not cussing me out, but, like, nah, 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 nah. So I decided to be bold, and I said, I want to talk to this being again. And I started yelling at him in Reptoid. And while I'm doing this, all these meters all around me are flashing like crazy. And then when they were done, we looked and we saw the recorder flashing like it was picking up something. And they play it back, and they go, get her. And everybody goes, ah! And I go, you can't get me, you're dead. And everybody looked at me as if I was crazy. I said, he's just a jerk trying to scare me, and I'm not standing for it. And if I was scared, I wouldn't be in this business to begin with. And they were just totally shocked. But, that it wasn't a demon. It wasn't somebody that was going to get me. It was just a spirit that I ticked off because he didn't scare me. So that was fun.
That's kind of eerie right there. Have you ever been in a channeling experience where multiple different species, like maybe you're trying to channel ghosts, but aliens come through?
No, I don't think I've had a crossover. They all seem to be, they take their turn, so to speak, because when I'm doing ghost stuff, I'm separating myself from the alien realm. Same thing like with a Bigfoot. Unless you're in a situation where there are Bigfoot, ghosts, and aliens all, to me, that's the Trinity. Aliens, ghosts, and Bigfoot, or cryptids. But no, I've never had it where they've crossed and interrupted either one talking. But I also did one that same place when we were with Stacy Brown Jr. and RPG and a few other people doing an investigation in that same park in Sarasota. A young girl spoke through me, and what was exciting is that when they asked her name, even before I spoke it, my friend said she heard the name Mary in her head, and then I spoke Mary. And then when they said, "How old are you?" before I could say 14, that somebody else heard in their mind the number 14. Well, while we were doing this session, we had the spirit box going, and all of a sudden a monitor about the size of a walkie-talkie flew across the room and landed at my feet. And then we continued on, and then somebody's cigarette lighter flew across the room and right past me, and the person whose lighter it was says that they didn't know how that happened because they left that lighter at the other building because they had lit a bunch of candles because there's no electricity in these buildings, so that when we went there after dark, it wouldn't be, we'd have light. And then when I was done channeling this girl, I sat down, and a wooden bowl on the mantle, this is a colonial home, behind me flew off the mantle and slammed into the chair I was sitting in. So we had a lot of activities. Oops, sorry, my black cat just decided to come up and say hello. Hey, Molly.
Love it.
We got
2 minutes to go before. We got 2 minutes to go before we have to go to break here. At the bottom of the hour, we're talking with Phyllis Csaszar here about channeling beings. What's the scariest channel you've had?
I would say that serial killer was the only one that scared me. Everything else I have felt at peace and calm when they come through. But I will not do any investigations where people think it is demonic or any evil presence. I will excuse myself from them. Here's a silly, crazy thing. I am a born-again Christian minister, okay, and a psychic, and people can't put the two together. I had more demonic or scary things happen as a minister than I do as a paranormal investigator. And so I will not mess with anything where I feel it might be demonic. I stay away from that. I work with...
that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense, because let's just face it, demons aren't fun.
No.
They're not fun at all. Have you ever encountered one?
Yes.
What's that like?
Way before I was doing any of this, I was probably in my 20s, and I was living at home, divorced already with 2 children. And the old cliche, I was living in the basement, and I was awakened in the middle of the night, and I felt this evil like I couldn't explain, like it was standing in the room staring at me. And I mean, my heart started pounding. I felt frozen, terrified. And I finally got up enough nerve to flip on the light. Nothing was there. But I left the area, ran up the stairs, woke up my mother, told her I had had a nightmare because I wasn't going to tell her that there was a demon in the basement. And then I went and I grabbed my Bible, and I think I opened it up to the Lord's Prayer and put it across my chest and lay down on the couch and slept there the rest of the day. I have no idea why that happened.
Hold
But
that thought. Hold that thought. We're going to go to break here. One more half hour with Phyllis Csaszar. Listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott. All right, Phyllis, we're clear.
Clear to talk?
Well, we're just taking our break here.
Okay. That was funny how the black cat jumped up on my lap as I'm talking about that.
Right.
And she's gone. I have 4 cats. They're all rescues.
Every day must be an adventure for you.
Yeah, but you can learn to shield yourself, I would say. Like, if I let myself go, I'd be hearing stuff all the time. But I try not to. But, sometimes the spirit's persistent. There's one who wanted me to tell a message to his son-in-law, and I was at a concert. Who the son-in-law was one of the singers that I knew, and I said, "Okay, I'll tell him when the next break." And the spirit kept going, "Go tell him, go tell him, go tell him, go tell him, go tell him," to the point I was in tears. So luckily a break came up and I went over and I gave him the message. But usually I try and shield myself when I can. It's like my daughter, she's empathic. And if she doesn't shield herself when she goes to a place like Walmart or something, she'll go in happy and come out, sad, depressed, irritated, all sorts of mood. And it's like, where did that come from? I said, well, you just absorbed all the energy from the people that were shopping around you. And you got to shield yourself, because when you're empathic, unfortunately, you're picking up all the crap.
Yeah, that's pretty intense when that happens.
So, yeah, I come from a family of psychics. My sister, my daughter, my son, I think my granddaughter too. She's been involved in ghost hunting. She's 23 now. She's been doing it since she was like 14. My daughter had Bigfoot encounters in New Jersey.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that?
I could tell about it. There's not too much. She just had a couple unusual encounters which got her interested in it, and that when she moved down here by me, that's how we both got involved in the Bigfoot world. My sister actually physically sees ghosts that, like I'm looking at you right now, she'll see ghosts just like that. And then all of a sudden she'll realize she's talking to a dead person, which was rough when she worked in the nursing home.
Right.
Molly, you can't do that, honey. Get down. She likes to stand on me, but she won't sit still.
We got about a minute 30, okay?
Okay. Like I said, I'm an open book. You can ask me anything. I think I've already said enough that if people think I'm crazy, oh well. By the way, I'm 74 now. So.
I think you're awesome.
Thank you. I don't feel 74. My body laughs at me, but mentally I definitely don't feel old. Traipsing through the woods and lecturing. Yeah, I was on the TV show Haunted Hospitals. That's the one I was talking about. But, I don't want to mention.
I remember that show.
Yeah.
I totally remember that show.
Yeah. Yeah, they totally took my stories and twisted them around. That was fun working at the hospital, the midnight shift, though. Security would come and get me and say, the ghosts are acting up, go upstairs and talk to them to calm down. So they'd take me upstairs to where the craziness was going on.
All right, we have 10 seconds. Thank you to T-Bone for our lone super chat and for gifting 5 memberships tonight. Greatly appreciate it, Bone. Here we go, everyone. We're into the second half of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. So glad you're here with us as we are channeling beings with Phyllis Csaszar. Phyllis is here. She's had this going for a lifetime. And Phyllis, you know, when you're channeling spirits, like you said right before the break, you didn't like it dealing with the demonic type entities. And you were telling us a story right before the break about what was an encounter of yours with a demonic entity like. What was it like?
Well, being I wasn't really involved in the spiritual and psychic realm, I was terrified. But then for a while, I had mentioned that I became born again. And then, of course, when you're in these type of churches, they tell you that you have control by, because you have the blood of Jesus and everything. But it still didn't stop encounters. I'll tell one other story, and I'll try and word it delicately because we are on live radio. But I was divorced and kind of wishing I had somebody in my life. And unfortunately, there was an ex-boyfriend who was married who kept calling me, and I kept telling him to go away. Well, I was having dinner at a minister's house, and he and his wife were talking about different things, and I used to say how the thought of Satan scares me. And they basically said, well, he's just a trickster, and as long as you don't fall from his tricks, you'll be okay. So driving home that night, I'm real smug, and I'm saying, okay, Satan, I got your number, and I know you're a trickster, and I'm not afraid of you anymore, yada yada yada. Well, that night, that ex-boyfriend calls me, and he's all upset. He needs to talk to me, and it's like, what? And he goes, well, my wife left me. So stupidly, my kind-hearted self meets up with him, and he takes me to his apartment to tell me about, the wife gone and everything. And unfortunately, he did something to me. Yes, and I was devastated. And then when he was done, he says, oh, by the way, my wife didn't leave me. She was just gone for the weekend on a trip. And I went home totally in shame. It was my own fault for falling for him. I felt like it was all my fault. It was, dirt, scum, everything. And the next day was church, and I couldn't even look at anybody. And the minister afterwards asked me what happened, and I told him. And then I realized it was, at the time, the trickster was proven when I was being smug and told him that he couldn't trick me. That what happened that very night, I was tricked to something devastating. So I never became smug again when it comes to dealing with negative entities.
No kidding.
So, so you don't play games. So that's why I will not do anything when, will not try and banish them or fight with them or even communicate with them, because I didn't like the 2 encounters I had. I even wrote a poem one time. It's called Satan's Like a Field of Flowers. The field of flowers looks beautiful, but what's hidden underneath? Thorns, bugs, bees, snakes. That you run out to this beautiful field of flower and you could be ambushed by a lot of things bad. And just like Satan entices you with lots of things that people think are great, but in the long run it could hurt you. So, but that was, gosh, when I was in my 20s, maybe early 30s. So, but I just learned that when I'm in this realm now, that I don't deal with anything that's suspected of being demonic.
As you move forward with this, do you expect the communication to eventually slow down?
No, it's actually getting stronger and stronger. The more I do, the more they realize that I'm open and willing. And I've been told that we're now astral projecting at bedtime or sleeping, and interdimensional changing and doing a lot of the spiritual war. My problem is I just wish I started at a younger age, because there's so much I feel like I still have to do. And as I said to you off the show, I am 74, and I want to do this more and more and more. I still work a 40-hour week, so this is only weekends and nights, and I would like to be able to pursue it full time and just help with the spiritual wars that are coming, as well as helping, in this realm, and helping as many people as possible who either want to know what's going on or know what's going on and want to be more involved. To give you an idea, during one time encounter, a woman was telling me that her son had some problems and could I talk to him. And so he told me he was having all these strange, bizarre dreams, and he thought he's demonic, and none of it made sense. Well, all while he's telling me, the space beings are telling me they're trying to communicate with him, but his human mind doesn't understand it and is turning it into something bad because the mind doesn't know how to interpret what they're doing to him. So I told him what was actually going on, and that I asked him if he was waking up with these headaches, and he said yes. And I said, well, the space beings are communicating and sending telepathic messages to your mind when you're sleeping. The problem is they're sending it at their frequency and their speed, and the human mind can't handle it. So if you want to pursue the gifts that they want to give you, before you go to sleep at night, tell them that to slow it down and bring it to human frequency. And they also said to tell him that he's going to find out that all of a sudden he has this electronic knowledge, and that that he never studied for, but it will just come naturally to him. And so I found out that he had gone to the forest with a gun to kill himself because he thought he was going crazy. But after what I told him what was going on, he accepted it. He turned his whole life around. I mentioned before he was one of the ones that got really good in electronics. And he had a podcast for a while, and I used to tell people about the encounter with me. And I used to say how I saved his life, and I've always said, no, I haven't. My job is to give you the tools and the information. Your job is to act upon it. And that also happened with the Bigfoot hunter. I walked up to him and I said, you're having strange dreams, and do you realize that Bigfoot is trying to communicate with you? And he was one of the first ones I gave the golden light to, except I was over-enthused and I ended up giving him a pretty bad migraine that day. But ever since then, he's been having constant Bigfoot encounters. with him and his family. And again, it's just, I give people the messages and they do decide what they want to do. So for me, at my age, I don't want it to slow down. I want it to get more intense, and I want to be able to help as many more people as possible. And I'll tell you, the majority of the stuff I do not charge anybody money. The only thing I charge is if somebody actually books me for a private reading, but I never charge anybody for golden light. I don't charge them for counseling. I don't charge them for anything, because to me, that would be abusing the gifts that I would have been given.
Let's get to some audience questions here, my friend. Let's start off with Jules here. Are there any terrestrial languages around today based on alien tongue? Perhaps Basque, Lakota, maybe Cherokee?
I definitely believe that some of the Native American languages sound very much like the space beings languages. And like I said, when I was doing the one with the Bigfoot, it sounded very Native American. So it's almost like they all kind of blend in together. I'm not sure about Basque, but I am Rh negative blood. My whole family is Rh negative, and I've done a little bit of study about the Basque because that was the main region where the Rh negative blood came from. But I can't say for sure, but from what I've heard in different languages speaking, they do sound very similar.
Very nice. Very nice. Next question. Are some aliens hearing impaired?
Well, I wouldn't say they're hearing impaired, but a lot of them, they don't speak and audibly in the ear. A lot of it tends to be more of using their mind in like a psychic telepathic communication. So I wouldn't say that they're hearing impaired. It's more of their physiological makeup is that they have actually, I would say, evolved further than vocal communication.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Let's continue on. Follow up from K17. Are there both good and bad reptilians?
Absolutely. Just like just about every alien race, there's even humans. They are all vicious warriors, but some are fighting for the good and others are fighting for control and power. So definitely, because the ones that I've encountered have always been benevolent and very, very protective. But in you might consider it violent because of their demeanor, but it's not malevolent actions. It's more out of care and compassion. It's just that they, you know, sorry, I'm stumbling over my words. What you would assume if you compare it to human behavior, you might think that they're all violent and evil, but it's just their nature, but it's intent.
Have any of the ETs that you've discussed with been concerned about other ETs coming down and trying to take over planet Earth and either turn humanity into dust or slavery or anything like that?
Well, if you watch enough movies today, you would believe that. But I was told actually the Pleiadians are patrolling around Earth, keeping the negative races that want to come here and cause problems. And it's not so much that they want to destroy the human race as much as they want the planet for its resources. And we would be in the way. But for most cases, you kind of go back to using silly terms like the Federation. There are actual federations out there of the various plant races that work together, and the majority of them have evolved enough where they're done with the conquering and the violence. The younger alien races are still like that, and in a lot of ways we're considered one of the younger races that are still, right now, we're still conquering. We can't even get along with people on our own planet, let alone leave this planet and go to others. But I would say they are out there, but our planet is pretty much protected for some reason. I don't know. They've kind of adopted us as their, I've heard various reasons why Earth is protected by other races, but it's just been speculation on why. That's another like an hour's episode on here, so I won't go into it in detail.
All right, let's move on to another question here. Let's next go to Jay here. Phyllis, do you also channel other creatures, whether it's like dolphins or other cryptids?
Well, I'm glad you asked about that, because I do have to tell you a wonderful story about dolphins.
Oh, please do.
I went to SeaWorld. I said I live in Florida. And I went to what I would call the baby tank, where they have the young dolphins. And it was nighttime, and all the babies were up in this one corner sleeping that you couldn't get to because the way the fencing was. So I was at the other end, and very softly I started singing, "Come to me, my children, I know who you are." I don't even know what I was saying. And all of a sudden, all the dolphins woke up and came down and started swimming all around me. And my daughter goes, "What did you do, Mom?" I said, "Oh, I was just communicating with them, and they came down to say hello." Well, a couple of years later, I go back to SeaWorld, and I'm back at the baby tank, and I'm telling the girls who do the show what happened. And that, I mentioned I was psychic and so on. And they thought it was a cute story. Well, the show's over, and I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, in my mind, I hear, "Starla. Where's Starla? I miss Starla." So as the dolphins are swimming by, and they kind of like pop up, I go, "Are you Starla?" And they ignore me and keep on going. So the next show is about to start, and I asked the girls, "Is there a dolphin named Starla around here somewhere?" And I said, "Oh, yes, she used to be in this tank, but she's over in the big dolphin tank now." She says, "Sad story. Starla's mother died a little while ago. Everybody was heartbroken. Her name was Starkey." So I said, "Oh, interesting." So I said, "Starkey, do you want to go find your child?" And she says, "Yes." So I go to the other side of the park where the big tank is, and you have to pay to get down by that. So I was sitting in an overlook bench, and I said, "Well, they say that she's in this tank somewhere, or this area, but I don't know." And just as I said that, the announcer says, "Hey, everybody, here comes Starla, one of our new dolphins that's here." And I said, "Well, Starkey, there's your daughter. What do you want to do?" And she says, "Go down under." Well, at SeaWorld, you can go underneath, and they have so the dolphins can swim right up to the window, and you could see them underwater. So we go down there. I'm the only one down there, and I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, this dolphin comes flying out, stops directly in front of me, and stares at me. And I said, "Are you Starla?" And with that, I said, "Starkey, here's your daughter." And then I got up and I left. So that was my communication with dolphins.
I can see where that would be kind of mind-blowing to you.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to another question here. Let's go to Lolo. Phyllis, do you know what planet they're from and what the planets look like? The aliens you were channeling, that is?
The only one planet is the one that we had this regression one time where they said they're going to regress you to when you were not human, when you were something else. And I regressed, and I ended up being on a planet. And the planet was stark, like not a lot of vegetation, and it had a lot of, like what you see, the, what did they call them? The volcano chimneys all over. And there was these liquid ponds that the beings like were born in. And then when they die, they go back into this pond to die. And to try and describe what the beings look like, all I could say is they were very tall, the gecko type looking creatures, but their heads were more elongated. And I had the feeling that I was one of them. And I kind of was shown that they were highly intelligent, but based on where they lived and what they looked like, you would just think that they were lizards. But that's the only planet that I've ever been shown. And that was during a regression.
Dunzel is wondering, do the Greys have a language, or do they just communicate telepathically?
I have never heard them speak. I like to refer to the Greys as minions, and they're more of like the worker bees. There are the tall Greys that are not, they're just called Greys because humans don't know what to call them. And of course, the names that we've given them aren't what their real names are, but because it's easier to understand the human language, that's where we call them reptoids and Pleiadians and Greys, insectoids, because of what they look like, or what people say they look like, compared to being human. Because the thing is, you think about it, we can only understand what we have on Earth. So there's a lot out there that, we might call the planet a planet, or the Sirius solar system, but that's the name we've given it. So then you call the people from the Sirius solar system sirens, or Syrians. Same thing like the Lyrans from the Lyra solar system. Those are names we've given them. I don't really know what they're actually called a lot of times, because they just refer to themselves as how we think of them. But as far as languages, I really don't feel that Greys have a language. They're more telepathically, but I think that they're just like a worker bee, or like I joke around, I call them the minions, because they have something to do, and they go do it. They perform their duties. They might have the psychic ability to, like when the abducted ones are scared and terrified, that telepathically they try and calm them down mentally, but I don't really think that they speak.
T-Bone would like to know, when you encounter them, is it a time distortion?
I have not noticed much of a time loss, but there has been a few times where I find that time seems to go extremely fast or extremely slow. But I can't say like I have lost 4 hours or 3 hours like you hear about some people. I find a lot of times the encounters, if they take you at 10:50, they bring you back at 10:50. So you haven't lost any time, and that's why a lot of people don't remember a lot of things, because nothing seems out of the ordinary.
Wow.
So,
Phyllis, it has been a pleasure having you on Spaced Out Radio tonight. We have to do this again and bring you. Thank you for the peak woo. We appreciate it.
Anytime. I have so much more to talk about.
Yes, we will in due time. That is for sure. Coming up next in hour 3, Swamp Dweller will kick things off. Follow that up by extra small Lee Strauss. You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much, Phyllis. You are amazing. I love you.
Thank you. I had a wonderful time.
We're going to do this.
Really fast.
We're going to do this again. I promise you.
Okay. Well, I got to get some sleep. I'm doing readings tomorrow at a festival. So
you get going.
Yep.
You get going.
And thank you so much. And keep in touch.
Will do. Take care, my friend.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Stop now! You're under arrest! Hands up! Don't move!
Don't get caught without your Spaced Out Radio merchandise. We have t-shirts, mugs, hoodies, socks, hats, stickers, and so much more. Whatever you're looking for, we have you covered. Why just be a fan of the paranormal when you can look the part? We don't have ugly merch, folks. Check out the Spaced Out Radio store. Find the link in the description below.
Dirty filth. Dirty filth. Dirty filth.
Object is heading north 045 degrees. It's definitely not a plane. It seems to be tethered to something. Is that a banner, Joe? Caribou Con. Does anyone know what Caribou Con is?
Caribou Con, one of the BC Caribou region's best-kept secrets. Until now. Join our panel of renowned paranormal experts for a weekend of fun and intriguing presentations. Go to cariboucon.com to book or inquire now. Discover Spaced Out Radio on all your favorite platforms. We're live every single night with the best in UFOs, cryptids, paranormal, and the unexplained. And you can find us on all your favorite platforms. Head over to Instagram for behind the scenes and daily weirdness, TikTok for quick mind-bending clips, Facebook for community discussions, and X for real-time updates and hot takes. Wherever you scroll, Spaced Out Radio is there. So go search Spaced Out Radio on every platform, hit follow, and turn on notifications so you never miss a single episode. The weird is waiting. See you there.
The McNeil House is one of several buildings at the 108-mile heritage site said to be haunted by spirits of a time long forgotten. But would you stay the night? Along with guided ghost tours and paranormal investigations, Haunted 108 is offering a chance to spend the entire night inside the historic McNeil House by booking one of our B&B style sleepovers, where you can experience the hauntings firsthand, meet the resident ghost cat, and witness unusual activity. If you dare to turn history into a night you'll never forget, book your spot now at haunted108.com. Spots are limited. Will you be brave enough?
As we get ready for hour 3, let's bring in extra small Lee Strauss.
How you doing, buddy?
Good. How you doing? Are we going hatless today or what?
I don't know, man. I'm just having fun with you.
Me too, man. Me too. Thank you to T-Bone, Luscious Jules, Walter, and Matthew for the super chats. Jules, I'm sorry I missed yours. I didn't see it in there until moments ago. And thank you to T-Bone for the 5 membership gifts. Urso Supersoft, how you doing? It's been a while. Glad to have you here. And any questions for Lee and I, put them in capital letters. We will get to them in this hour. Swampy will be 3 minutes. Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We have Swamp Dweller and extra small Lee Strauss getting ready for this coming hour. But first, we want to say hello to all of you listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digital major podcast network, our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the S.A.T.U.R.N Space Travelers Club. Monkery. Monkery is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp. Now, to start everything off, I live in northern Quebec, and I've lived there for about 17 years now. My grandfather used to take me hunting out in the woods when I was 10. He told me one of his stories when I was younger about what I believe could be a knot deer that was possibly hunting in the woods. He had told me that livestock had been mysteriously going missing. The animals had been eaten or just taken, is what his thoughts were. But his thoughts were canceled out when he saw this giant deer one day. This deer, he said, was the biggest deer he had ever seen in his entire life. It could have easily weighed 400 pounds or more. So as he picked up his gun when he saw the deer, he dialed in his sight for the range at least 200 yards out. When he dialed in his sights, he aimed and took the shot. He said he shot the deer at least twice with an A308 Lapua, but the deer never stood a chance. But somehow he said the deer still stood tall. So my grandfather, after a couple of seconds of thinking, I remember this very vaguely, but he picked me up and ran as fast as he could. Once we got back to the cabin, he was out of breath, going downstairs into the basement, picking up every single gun he owns and loading it and cocking it. It was just me and my grandfather and my father, and also I believe my brother-in-law at the time. We all held up our guns high except for me with my tiny little .22 caliber, thinking I would do some damage. We anxiously waited for this beast, whatever it was, to follow us into the cabin. But after 45 minutes of waiting, nothing happened. Later that day, around 7 p.m., we decided to pack our stuff up and get the hell out of Dodge. But once we got back into the city, We were all very shaken up, and it was a very, very quiet ride home. I'm 32 now, but I remember this very vividly. I remember my grandfather and my father telling me the story again when I was 15, saying that Grandpa went out to the exact same woods and never came back. We have never heard or seen from my grandfather again. The last thing we know is he was going out deer hunting. And that's where we saw that giant deer creature. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You guys just saw a deer and your grandfather maybe overreacted. And maybe that's the case. But to be fair, it was incredibly weird. All of the noises in the forest when this thing were around were completely mute. Not a single sound was to be heard. It's entirely indicative of how these not deer, Wendigo, skinwalker encounters go. My dog Charlie has gone missing for 2 weeks now, and he always, and I mean always, comes back when we whistle and call his name. There have been no dogs looking like Charlie at the pound, and we haven't found any carcasses or bodies anywhere. I personally think this thing got my dog as well. I don't know. There's something in the Quebec woods, and I'm scared that it's hunting my family.
Thank you, Swampy, for another spooky story. If you want more just like that, head on over to YouTube, type in Swamp Dweller, hit subscribe, ring that bell. Thousands of stories for you to listen to each and every day and night, except when you're listening to this show. And you get Swamp Dweller here in hour 3. From the swamp to the stars and the forest all around, let's bring in extra small Lee Strauss.
They call him extra small, but he's big where it counts. Chasing Bigfoot through the woods on wild accounts. Talking ghosts in the dark, UFOs in the sky. Aliens laughing while they're cruising by.
Yeah, Lee Strauss is out there. Hear that cosmic call. He's the legend of Element 115. Hero Spaced Out Radio's Q&A.
Extra small Lee Strauss, it's always good to have you back on the show. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, Dave. It's just been one heck of a week, and I'm glad I hit the weekend.
Me too. Me too.
Coming up.
It's always good to have you on this show as we continue on with a fresh week here of interesting news. So my question for you is, I mean, you're in Washington State. I'm here in British Columbia. Forest fires are terrible this year. They really are. They are horrible. And I have decided to not call them forest fires anymore. I am officially calling them bureaucracy fires.
Okay. There's a reason behind this, I'm sure.
Yes. Yes. I want people to take a look at this. I mean, because I know there's been a lot of people griping and moaning about the smoke coming down from Canada. And, you know, there's places in the United States like Washington State and Oregon that are burning right now. You know, back in the day, let's just go back 25 years, maybe even 20, not that long ago. When there was a forest fire, everybody got in on the action to help. The logging crews stopped what they were doing. The water bombers came in. The fire, the fire departments came in. You know, the professional forest firefighters came in, and they battled it quickly, efficiently. And now we see all of these super fires going on. The fire here that is burning about 25 miles south of me right now, that's not very far. Fire can move 20 miles in a day. Okay. It's not very far. It's up to 90,000 hectares.
Yeah.
90,000. Okay. Now, for the equivalent of that, if we look at a football field, okay, let's say an American football field, 100 yards. So a football field in hectares, which is how they rate forests, is about 0.5 to 0.8 hectares. At 90,000, that's 180,000 football fields. Think about that. 180,000 football fields on fire at once. And that is south of me. And guess what? 0% contained. 0% contained. And I look at this, and if you talk to people like the logging crews and people in the forest firefighters, because they talk, people talk. And they're all saying the same thing. There's not enough crew. There is not enough planes. You don't need these little helicopters with these small buckets. They're useless. You need to put it out. Yet there are people out there and people who want to help, and they're being told to stand down. And they're even getting told, some people in my area even got told, you know what? We don't need you around here.
Wow.
And I'm not going to go on a big conspiratorial rant about this, okay? Because I think that these fires that are moving all around, I believe climate change is real. Don't get me wrong. I do believe it's real. But when you're trying to spur on climate change like we do here in Canada, for taxes, for everything, it makes me wonder real quick. And what's needed is less bureaucracy and more critical thinking to save people's lives, their home, their livestock, their livelihood, everything.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like in the US, but I know up here in Canada, where I am, where we're surrounded, and they are potentially going to cut service to our only other there's 2 highways south to get out of here. If I wanted to go south, there's Highway 97, which is shut down because the fire's burning on both sides of the highway. And there's Highway 24, which is now partially under evacuation order in certain areas and evacuation alert. And they're thinking that they might shut it down. We're stuck. Not happy about that. It's not a comfortable feeling. Just so you know, it's not a comfortable feeling right now. Not comfortable at all.
Definitely not.
Yeah, and no rain in the site. But here's my theory on it. I remember friends of mine run the airport here where I live. Okay, it's just a one-strip runway. And a few years ago in 2021, they were telling me a story about they got from one of the helicopter pilots who had a government official in a passenger seat while they were going to fight a fire. So he picks up his water, and as he's flying along the highway to get to the fire, he sees this little smoldering on the ground. He's like, hey, let me dump this water here. I'll put this one out. And then it'll take us 5 minutes to fly back, fill up, and we'll get that bucket to the next one. But this one will be out. Government official says, no, this bucket is slated to go to that fire at that section. That's where we're taking it. When they flew back a few minutes later, that fire was up to 5 hectares from a smoldering. 5 hectares. Then they put these glyphosates in the forest. I don't know if they're doing that in Washington State, but here in BC, some scientific idiot has decided that we're going to spray this stuff in the trees because we're going to get rid of these chemicals. We're going to get rid of the invasive species of plants and invasive bugs that are like the pine beetle and all of this that's killing all the trees. And guess what? That stuff is known to dry out trees, dry out bark. Dude, we're getting fires here, and we've only had a few days this year. To put it into Fahrenheit, we've only had a couple days in the 80s this year. Fires used to start when it was like 85, 90, 100 degrees, 105 degrees. Not at 78 degrees, not at 76 degrees or 74 or 72. Not then. And yet the fires are blowing up. How? I'm telling you, there is a conspiracy. Everybody hides behind climate change. Everybody hides behind the weather, the planet's getting warmer. And because that's the media cause, they're not critical thinking into what could be the case for these super fires. Old timers in my town who lived here 40, 50, 60 years prior to 2017 had only seen this once in this area. Once. And now it's happening every couple of years. It isn't climate change. It's bureaucracy fires. And stupid people starting them. Cigarettes, campfires, shooting ranges, where you blow up the what do you blow up there? You can shoot tannerite canisters. Yep. That's how 2017 started here. Tannerite canister on a 104-degree day. Those two don't mix very well.
Nope.
They don't work very well. Look, I'm not saying that this is all human controlled. Look, nature does do some of it. Okay, lightning storms don't help. Right? Lightning doesn't help. But the most of it, bureaucracy fires. Look it up. Do your homework. If you're getting smoked out down there, or up here where I am, where I haven't seen the sun clear in 3 weeks, bureaucracy fires. So there's my rant for the day. And then on the flip side, I'm going to go look for Bigfoot in the middle of the smoke this coming weekend.
Well, so at least you can get out there and enjoy it. Hopefully I can as well. On Sunday, I'll be available to get out. But, we've got, I think, 11 major fires here in Washington state. And we just brought in a bunch of people from New Zealand to help fight fires. There are some fires here in Washington and Oregon that only have like 8 firefighters assigned to. So we are hurting as well. Oregon much worse than Washington currently. But it is terrible. And they're talking about this coming Saturday, a huge windstorm and possibly more dry lightning east of the mountains.
And let's also not forget that the West Coast has tried to ban everything to do with logging for a long time. And the more the forests crack like this, the more or the less logging there will be. The less mills, which puts people out of work, which puts a lot of families into desperate situations. Right?
Yeah.
They're yelling climate change, and they're not yelling bureaucracy.
Well, you realize, Dave, that the climate constantly changes, right?
Yes.
It's never just a set bar year after year after year where you can expect the same thing. That it just does not happen that way. And right now we are in a super La Nina.
Yes. And here's the other thing too. I don't know if it's happened in Washington State, but here in British Columbia, they used to have companies that went out to take out deadfall, or potentially harmful trees to the forest. They don't have those anymore. They don't have those companies that are thinning out the forest, and scientists and forestry engineers that are looking for for ways to keep the forest going, right, and healthy. One of those ways is getting rid of deadfall and planting proper trees that are proper to the location, and not just choosing a tree of choice. Like if you're in a Douglas fir area, planting it with a bunch of evergreens, which would be an invasive species. You don't do that. But they're doing it. They're doing it.
Yeah.
But anyways, tranche number 5 has not come out yet. Apparently, it's going to be a week from now, and we are going to be waiting and waiting and waiting once again to figure out if the UFO community in Washington, D.C. is going to say, let's give these guys something to chew on, or let's frustrate the hell out of them even more, Lee. It seems like the pattern now is every 3 weeks when these come out.
Yeah, it seems like they have access to more and more material, though, where they didn't have before. So let's just hope that that continues.
What do you want to see?
No more star configurations with flares. We've seen 2 now, and I get pretty rattled when I see AI predictions of what that craft looks like. It just frustrates the crap out of me. I don't know why I feel like I need to interject into these conversations, but yeah, it bugs me. Just because people don't understand what they're looking at, but in a flare video. But I would like to see more documents this time. I want more documents. I want stuff about Roswell, for instance.
Here's one of the things, and I'm going to take a comment here from Witness Protection here. Fake UAP disclosure, propaganda, fake UAP. And I'm going to correct your sentence here. I'm not going to be a jerk, okay? I don't want you to sound like I'm demoralizing what you put. This is real UAP disclosure. What it is not is UFO disclosure. It is not UFO disclosure at all. They want to confuse you that UAP are UFOs when UAP are man-made objects. Everything that they have shown as UAP, every video they have released as UAP, has been man-made objects. So if you want UAP disclosure, you're getting it. Hot air balloons is UAP disclosure. Little orbs flying around that look like drones that are superimposed and super zoomed in on, those are UAP. Birds are UAP. Flocks of birds are UAP. Kites are UAP. Balloons are UAP. There's a lot of UAP in the sky. But if you want UFO disclosure, they haven't given us a thing yet. And Lou Elizondo can sit there and say, okay, the reason why we went UFO to UAP because of the stigma behind little green men and flying saucers. No, you did it to cover up your own projects. Wasn't you, Lou. It was everybody else who wants to cover up their own projects. When you hear people talking about working at Area 51 or other secret bases, and their pilots are going out, hey, let's make some UFO sightings tonight. And trust me, bro, on this one, that conversation has happened. If you talk to any insider, which I have, on and off the record, they will tell you point blank, UAP are man-made objects. UFOs is what they do not want to discuss. Lee Strauss, the extra small one, here on Spaced Out Radio. Is Spaced Out Radio. your host, Dave Scott. So I've been toying with something here.
Okay. Bring
I'm
it
not doing
forth.
anything with it. I'm just toying it. I'm throwing this idea out there. Because I saw an advertisement for us on one of our radio station websites. And they had spaced out. And then in a different font, a smaller font, thinner font, they had radio. And I've all of a sudden, after looking at that advertisement, I was thinking, can we drop the radio and just be spaced out with Dave Scott? Sounds a lot more professional.
Oh, it sounds a lot more woo.
Yeah. I'm just debating.
Yeah, it just sounds a lot more woo. Like there might be drugs involved.
True. Adding the radio doesn't do much to add to that, though. I'm just throwing it out there. What do you guys think in the chat room?
See,
T-Bone
somebody else said,
absolute no.
Angels Are Life said sounds drug related. So there you go. She agrees. Nikki.
She's in Seattle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know her.
Like I said, I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not going to probably do anything with it. I mean, like when I say I'm probably not going to do anything with it, like there's like a 99.59 chance I'm not going to do anything with it. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just throwing it out there.
Well, you can, dude, you can always make more shirts, right? You can put it on a shirt.
I could just put it on a shirt.
Mm-hmm.
I could put it on a shirt. Yeah. I'll have to play with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to play with that.
Yeah, I don't think you should change your name of your show though. Saying radio at the end gives it more legitimacy and more professional-ism.
You're probably right. You're probably right. I mean, it is a cool logo, though. I'll probably just make it into a shirt.
I think so. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Get spaced out with Spaced Out Radio.
Uh-huh. Hold on. I could get rid of FAP this way. He says, change it and I'll never be back. Oh, great. Now you will.
That's hilarious. Uh-huh.
Yeah, Monk hasn't even commented on the password tonight. Monkery. Monkery is your password. Joe Monk's birthday today.
Joe Monk.
Joe Monk.
Well, happy birthday, Joe.
Yeah, he's like 84 today.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, Joe, if you were in Canada, when you turn 100, you get a call from the king or a piece of paper from the king.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Call it Bigfoot or Spaced Out Fades. That's awesome. Oh, I'm sorry. He says, I'm 85. 15 years until you can have tea with the king. Thank you to T-Bone. Thank you to Walter. Thank you to Matthew. Thank you to Luscious Jules for the super chats. And thank you to, did I miss one? Thank you to T-Bone for gifting 5 memberships tonight. Appreciate you guys. You have any questions for Lee or myself? Put them in capital letters. And when's your birthday, Bigfoot Fades? I'll call you. Here we go. Let's go to the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. It's Q&A. Extra small Lee Strauss is here tonight. We're having fun with him. Now, Lee, you know point blank, my loathing, not my hatred, my loathing for these NASA fools who try and play dumb with the UFO phenomena. You know that. I know.
Yeah.
I could feel you rolling your eyes right now.
They really just rolled all the way back down to the top of my buttocks, by the way.
Okay. So there's a point to this because NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman was discussing UAP, saying he has no information on crashed spaceships, bodies, or biological organisms.
I will tell you, I have immense access and have been a seat at the table since the get-go on this. I have no information, no knowledge. I take a lie detector test on any crashed spaceships or bodies or biological organisms on this. But for sure, we're gathering a lot of data, and there is some unexplained anomalous phenomenon, and we're putting it out there as part of these disclosure efforts.
I want to listen to that again.
I will tell you, I have immense access and have been a seat at the table since the get-go on this. I have no information, no knowledge. I take a lie detector test on any crashed spaceships or bodies or biological organisms on this. But for sure, we're gathering a lot of data, and there is some unexplained anomalous phenomenon, and we're putting it out there as part of these disclosure efforts.
Oh, yeah. Take the lie detector test.
Oh, yeah.
Take the lie detector test because you are lying through your teeth.
That is correct. And here it is, Dave, is that it's private industry that takes over that stuff. And he knows that darn well. That if something crashes, he's got a number to call. He may not know what happens after something crashes or something's been picked up and taken away, but he knows that there's a number to call. I'm sure of it.
I want him to take that test because I guarantee you he fails.
Who is going to ask him the proper questions?
If you had a UFO researcher, a trained UFO researcher, or a trained UFO journalist asking him questions while he's on a lie detector test, 100% he fails. 100%. Yes. You've already been caught lying. And look, there is nothing more. There's one of the words I hate using the most in my vocabulary is the word lying, liar, or lie. Because I think it's a term we throw around too easily.
Right.
Because people do misspeak.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They misquote, they misspeak. But in this situation, where for years, Jared and his cronies, Bill Nelson before him, and others have lied through their teeth about what they know about UFOs. And the one good thing that these tranches has done is it has proven the conspiracy theory or the conspiracy theorists right or pardon me, let's use proper English here for a second. It is proven that the conspiracy theorists were right, that NASA had been withholding information about its astronauts, about what they've seen, what they have recorded over time. So for him to sit there and say that he hasn't seen any evidence, he's full of it.
He said that he has seen and has evidence of anomalous objects, right? But we know fair well there's more to it than that.
Absolutely. You are sitting on the largest space program, publicly funded space program in the world. Okay? Where you have built generations of hope, of prosperity, and of potential. And there isn't a person out there that does not love NASA. We all do. We all cried when Challenger blew up. We all cried when Columbia blew up. And we all cried in happiness when Neil Armstrong landed on the moon, when John Glenn went around the planet, and when Artemis 2 made its return. We all love NASA. But NASA is devious. And what a lot of people do not understand is there are two faces to NASA. Their Dr. Jekyll is what we see in the public. Their Mr. Hyde is their defense contracts, the amount of secret satellites they've put in space over the years. And the fact that they have been the biggest cover-up of UFOs in the world.
Yeah.
Since the 1960s. And we're still getting played like we are fools. Okay? We're still being played like we are fools. Really? All these people who are watching the live NASA feeds, the minute something anomalous flies by, the cameras just happen to cut out? It happens weekly, if not more. But that's one of those subjects that we just don't talk about, Lee. Because NASA is famous for, if we don't talk about it, it never happened. It's like the Canadian government that way. So I'm a little perturbed by that. A little perturbed.
It's you know, for being, it's not supposed to be a government agency, but you know, most of the people that are higher up in NASA come from government agencies, right? So they keep quite the tight lip and lid on that phenomena. They just do. They have for years. Recently, however, things have started to change. But they don't want to push it too far. They don't want to be the ones that come out and say, you know, they're little green men are real. They're not going to do that. They're going to wait for somebody else to do it, and they will release their stuff slowly.
Well, they're going to release it slowly no matter what, because they definitely want to have full control of this subject. It isn't about anything else. It's about control.
Yes, but I think there's other things too. So like Velcro and lasers and everything else that, you know, certain people have said in the past have come from downed aircraft, or downed alien craft. You know, who get that technology first? You know, somebody like NASA and Lockheed Martin and different, you know, defense contractors are going to get that technology first. So maybe that is why they try to keep things under wraps a little bit.
You never know, Lee. You never know. Like, honestly, it's almost as sick as Katy Perry dating Justin Trudeau. Almost as sick. A lot of people won't like me saying that, but too bad. Too bad. But nonetheless, I mean, we're still waiting for more news to come out. And I think the big thing right now is, are people getting bored of this subject?
No, I think what's happening is that it's becoming so widespread. People are just like, oh yeah, I believe it. Sure, why not? I think it's becoming blasé. I think it's becoming the norm. So people aren't paying as much attention to it anymore because it is now a known fact, right? Even if certain individuals haven't come out and said it widely enough or said there is green men, but there is unknown craft that we do not know the purpose of them being here, which once again is a load of horse manure as far as I'm concerned. It's just a known fact, and it's blasé. There's less excitement around it now, I think.
I'm going to disagree with you. I agree with you, but I'm going to disagree with you on this. And please hear me out, because, I know I can be such a jerk with these things, and I don't want to hurt your feelings and send you to the safe space over in the corner of SOR
Give
headquarters.
me a puppy to pet.
Yes. I think people are getting tired of it. And let me tell you why. Shows like mine, and there's some great shows out there that discuss these topics. It's not just me. I mean, we may be one of the best. Yes, a little bit of ego there. I apologize. No, but seriously, there are a number of shows providing great information regarding these topics. We could all agree on that. We're one of them. But we're not delivering any answers. We are not delivering any newsworthy content because those in power are not giving us anything. Yes, we could talk about this subject, and I love talking UFOs. Don't get me wrong. I love talking UFOs. Outside of Bigfoot, it's my two favorite topics to talk about, UFOs and Bigfoot. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. It's a lot of fun for me. I enjoy it. It actually makes me smile, and I'm somebody who doesn't smile often. But I can tell you this. I think because of the lack of proof, the lack of evidence, the trust me bro theory and the trust me bro excuse is wearing very thin, not just with the UFO community, because we're fed up. I think we can agree. We're fed up with the trust me bro. Show us the videos of the aliens. Show us the videos of Holloman Air Force Base where the UFO landed. You have the video. There's 14 seconds that are available on YouTube. We want to know if Skinny Bob is real. We want to know what happened at Roswell. We want to know what happened at Kingman. We want to know what was hiding at Area 51, and is Bob Lazar legit? We have a right to know. You paid taxes on that, America. You paid taxes. And for the layman out there who may have a passing glimpse at this subject, where they, are listening to News Nation or Fox News or CNN or reading the New York Times, and they see something on UFOs, they're going to be like, wonder if they're ever going to show everything. And guess what they do next? They turn the channel because they already know the answer to that. Playing right into their hands. Right?
I think a lot of people see it in the small window, a small box. Well, how does it affect me? I mean, really, for my day-to-day stuff, is it going to make my 401k go up? Or is it going to, affect me when I go to the grocery store or get fuel? I mean, those are the types of things that I think a portion of the population is concerned about, right? And UFOs really don't pique their interest outside their little box. there are some of us, like everybody who's watching tonight, yourself, myself, and thousands of other people, that it does affect, because we do want to be right about the things that we believe we know, the things that we've seen in the sky. We want that, somebody to come out and say, yeah, you did see what you saw. But for a lot of people, it's just like, oh, that's good. There's, aliens on another planet that visit Earth. Oh, great. It's not making my fuel go down, or price go down, or this or that. They, some people are just so blasé about it. But it's really, Dave, it is the biggest story. As far as I'm concerned, it's the biggest story ever.
Yes. 100% agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It is. And I think, though, you're right. You hit something a nail on the head there right off the bat. And that was about food, paying bills, rent, mortgage, gas, insurance is skyrocketing on everything now. We're seeing record prices and everything, where inflation is driving everything up except salaries. And there's no way the economy of the US or Canada can sustain this long term with everything rising up. I mean, God, I don't know what cable costs down there, but I get hit up with these cable packages. And in Canada, it's a monopoly here with Rogers, company called Rogers. It's a monopoly. Okay, because they buy out all the competition. I get all the channels, plus my internet for my house is $200 a month. That adds up. And then they want to add more. Oh, for $6 more, $6 more. And I used to be one of those people who fell. Oh, it's just $6. It's just $6. But over the last 10 years, that $6 has equaled $60.
Yeah.
To the point where I'm thinking of cutting my cable again, just to save that money for the amount of TV I watch. The only time I really watch TV is during hockey and football season.
Yeah.
Right? Because I don't need to pay for Netflix. I mean, I already pay for Netflix. I already pay for Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
So I can watch it there.
Sure.
And everything needs a subscription now.
Yeah.
And if you want to see a real travesty, look at Canadian cell phone bills over American cell phone bills. That's horrific. That is absolutely horrific. But I digress. Let's get back to UFOs. When bills become more important than anything else in the world, when people stop taking vacations, they're not going to care about UFOs. When people are wondering, do I spend $40 on one steak, or do I buy processed crap, but at least it feeds my family for 5 nights for $40? What am I going to do? Hamburger Helper for 5 nights in a row at $1.99 a box, or one $40 steak that's going to last one meal? UFOs are not important to the public right now because of everything else going on. So the big question is, have they become a distraction?
I don't know that they've become a distraction. I think it's just one more thing that is coming out into the public eye right now, and there's so much of it as well. I mean, we could talk about a lot of things that are coming out into the public eye, and UFOs are just one. But I still think that's the most important story right now. But there's a lot of other stories in the peripheral that are popping off left and right. And it's getting to the point where you don't even know where to look anymore because it's just so prolific.
Did you know? Here's a conspiracy theory that I have. We got 2 minutes to go. I wish I would have thought about this earlier, but it just popped in my head. You're American, I'm Canadian. In order to buy a car now in Canada, you have to have your ID scanned. They're hiding everything under fraud or anti-fraud and anti-money laundering. So now you cannot get a vehicle loan until they send you a text message to have your ID verified. No longer is it good enough for the person sitting behind the desk to verify your ID, to look at your driver's license, look at you, look at your driver's license, look at you, get all of your social and security number or social insurance number, get anything, your banking information. It's now not good enough. They want to scan your driver's license, check you for fraud, check you for everything before the bank will say yay or nay to a car loan. Little brother is officially watching.
That is not the way it is here in the US.
This just changed. This is 2026, and in Canada, nobody knows about it. Nobody has griped. The media hasn't said anything. They've dropped it silently. And this is a trust me, bro situation. Because I do know 100%. Because in order for me to help people in my daytime job, I need to take their ID and scan it.
Wow.
Yeah. How illegal is that?
It should be.
Should be. To buy a car.
Mm-hmm.
But UFOs. Nobody believes them. Nobody wants that story. Right? Anyways, I hate to end that show and this segment on being a jerk. I love you, Lee. You're awesome.
I love you too, man.
Give you a nice tip of the cap for another great show as we say goodnight to Lee and hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio. Rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on X, hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and Bigfoot Broadcasting Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
we're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night, everybody. Go. Look at us go, Lee. It's almost like we know what we're doing.
What?
Yeah.
What did you say?
I said, let's go, Lee. It's almost like we know what we're doing.
You know what you're doing, my friend. I'm just here to sing backup.
You are the pointer in the Pointer Sisters.
Oh, boy.
You're so excited. You just can't hide it. Everybody, Lee's about to lose control, and I think I like it.
Yeah, you would. Hey, brother, I need to get up early because I got work tomorrow.
So do I.
Yeah.
I appreciate
know,
you,
but
buddy.
I appreciate you too, man, and everybody else who's watching, for sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you, T-Bone, for the $5.
Right there. The double B, Brother Bone.
Well, yeah.
Everybody, do me a favor right now. Tip your cap to Lee Strauss as he's about to exit for another week. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. Well, you have a good night, buddy.
You too.
See you, brother.
Later, everybody.
This old cynical has had it. Love it. Love it. Welcome to the chat room. Ali Tup, what's happening? Good night, Ali Tup. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Oh, it's loading. It is loading. Is it loaded yet? Please wait for the encoding. Okay. I guess we can still go like this. Can't we? Can't we? Can't we do it this way? Copy. Paste. And 1 second here. Go like that. Go like this. Put these here. Boom. Save. Are we able to do this now? Yes, we can. Yes, we frickin' can. Right there. Hold on. Yes, we frickin' can. Woohoo! Woohoo! Boy, that's recording quiet. We're gonna have to turn that up next time. Get those levels up. Fap, you're highly unattractive. Highly unattractive. The only man I know that's proud to say he got a tramp stamp tattoo. I don't get it. It's true. Absolutely true. Can't make that stuff up. No Walter tonight. We don't do Walter on Friday nights. Right? Oh, nice edit, Dave. Good job. Oh, that's just smooth right there. That's butter. Absolute butter. We need some watering holes. What kind of watering hole? Oh, well, let's take a little peek here. I had to think about that for a second. All right, let's go to Africa. Come on, give us something here. Oh, no, we don't want birds. Birds are boring. No offense. They're cute, but they're boring. What's this one here? We got a commercial. One sec. We don't want antelope. We don't want antelope. Give us something good. Old Donio. Oh, is this a live one? Is this live? It is live. Oh, we got a good one here, people. Hold on. We got a good one. We got a good one. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm forgetting what to do here. Here we go. You guys are going to be happy with me. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? Is that what you wanted, Jules? I always deliver. Always deliver. Oh, shit. What did I just do? Cancel. Undo. Thank God for the undo button. Holy cow. That would have sucked big time. That one would have sucked. It's been 12 days since I had an ice cap. I'm really craving an ice cap. 12 days since I had a Pepsi. Really craving a Pepsi. Oh, the zebras have moved in. Nice. We got a good vid today. Got a very good video today. Who's on Monday? Lance Dorrell or Durrell. Remember we screwed up this past week? Yeah. He'll be here. Monday. Tuesday. Christian McLeod. Still looking for somebody for Wednesday. Dale Boswell on Thursday. R. Keith Andrews on Friday. It'll be a good week next week. Yes. Yes. All right, guys, I'm about to call it the weekend. You guys stay safe out there. Okay, you be awesome. I want to see you all here on Monday. Don't forget to leave a comment after the show below. Thank you to T-Bone ×2, plus gifting 5 memberships. Thank you to Jules. Thank you to Matthew. Thank you to Walter. Did I miss anybody? No, we're good. Thank you, guys. Matthew, thank you. Thank you to everybody who hit the thumbs up. I am going to get going here because my night is almost done. I want to go to bed. I do. So thank you for the love. Spread the word. Tell everybody how awesome it is to be a part of us. Good night.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.